Hey guys, this is Dafydd McScruddle with my 2024 album catch-up. These are my top 10 albums of the year so far in no particular order, so here's what I'm listening to. First up is The Nicki Experience, Around the Town. This is the first album in the Rat Pack Records series by Nick DeNino. Although I really enjoyed the song selections, the microphone in Fast Car left a lot to be desired. Overall, as one of the first Rat Pack Records albums, Nick DeNino smashed it out of the park, and this is definitely one of my favorite albums of the year. 4 out of 10. Next up is also by Rat Pack Records. It's Giancarlo Messina's Act 1, Renaissance. I'm just gonna say it. Giancarlo is a star on the mic. The song selection was incredibly emotional and the vocal performance was just as moving. Overall, I cannot wait to hear more of what Giancarlo Messina has to offer. My rating? 5 out of 10. Third up is Joe DeFalco's Taking Back the Hits. This is where you can see Rat Pack Records really starts to get into their own. On this album, Joe laid out some of the greasiest and most delicious tracks I've ever heard. The song selection on this album is also immaculate. Whether it was Cruise, Whistle, or Chasing Cars, this album had me so excited that I had to start doing mountain climbers on my desk. I just couldn't help myself, it was too exciting. Overall, I'm giving Joe's first album 4.5 out of 10. Next up is a mouthful. Dean of Grimes presents The Biggest Boy in the Smallest Town, Disc 1, started from the bottom. Wow. What else is there to say? This is a contender for album of the year. This album is unlike anything I've seen from an artist this year. No, let's be real. From this decade. It's one of those albums that you can just listen to and cry and cry and cry and cry and cry and wish things were different. This is a dark horse for the year for sure. My rating? 5.5 out of 10. Nick DeNino storms back onto the scene with The Nicki Experience, Take My Hand Girl. Contrast of Nick's first and second albums is truly astonishing. After hearing his colleagues' albums, I'm sure he has made strides vocally and in his song selections. My rating, 5.5 out of 10.
One sip, bad for me. One hit, bad for me.
Next up, my personal favorite. Ray Milburn, Live from the Sphere. I mean, it's no coincidence that this is the Rat Pack Records' most critically acclaimed album. And it's also no surprise that Ray was able to book the Sphere for his debut performance. I was lucky enough to be able to get tickets to the show, and I have to say, it was just incredible. On the stage, he had 2 kids with him, who were shredding on the guitar like you've never seen. During Good For You, he unleashed a bunch of wild animals onto the stage. If you get the chance, I hear he's playing at the Great Pyramids next, so I would definitely recommend checking it out. Overall, I rate this album 2 out of 10. Rounding out the 7th inning is Giancarlo Messina's Act 2, Cowboy Messina, plus the deluxe version. This album is incredibly significant and impressive under the circumstances that Giancarlo was able to record this in. I have insider news that Giancarlo had chicken fever when he was recording this album. Now, my mother had chicken fever and was pronounced dead the next day. So when I heard Giancarlo had gotten diagnosed with it, I thought it was over. I really thought we would never get an Act 2. But I was wrong. Giancarlo persevered, and I think that cannot be overstated. Thankfully, I read on X that these days, you can just get an anal probe and you'll be cured. Overall, I thought this was a real inspiration as Giancarlo was able to record 13 songs for us. My rating, 3 out of 10.
This is what are we waiting for?
Number 8 is a real treat. We got 2 of my favorite guys here, Joe DeFalco and Dean Grimes, recording a joint album together called DJ Lost in the Soundscape. Frankly, again, listening to Joe's part just made me feel like I need to get up and move. Unlike Joe's last album, I couldn't even finish the album before I had to start doing jumping jacks on my desk. However, when Dean Grimes came on the track, I felt deeply disturbed. I listened to this album when I was driving to my daughter's dance recital, but I was so disgusted that I had to drive back home. It just fucked up my whole day. Like, I had to tell my daughter that her daddy couldn't make it. I just stayed at home and paced around the house all day. 3 out of 10. A surprising newcomer to the scene is Claire Cobeats with her album, Claire Moment. This doesn't feel just like Claire's album, because there are 2 features on it that make it something special. Celia Kaus and Rowan Mellon. These 2 more than carry their weight on the album, and they make it something unlike I've ever seen. This album took me back to my childhood, specifically to the summer. It reminded me when I would sit under the shade of a tree and watch my friends play games without me because of my crippling skin disease. If I stepped out into the sun for even a moment, my skin would burn off and I would be mutated for life. To be young again. 4 out of 10. And then she knew my lips. Finally, Kanye West's Vultures. 10 out of 10. As always, guys, my name is Dafydd McScruddle, and you've been watching The Dafydd Files. Make sure to check out my merch link in the description below, and use code McScruddle for 10% off ball cream.
Mr. B6000